Greetings, fellow thrill seekers. Welcome to the chilling mystery of the Dyatlov Pass incident, a story that has puzzled experts and intrigued mystery lovers for decades. Today, I'd like to tell you everything about this mystery, including the exact documented story of what happened, crazy theories and guesses of what could have actually happened, and finally, the official version of the incident, according to the Russian authorities and an independent study by Swiss scientists. I bet you will see at least a couple things you've never heard before. Without further ado, let's get started. It was late January 1959 when a group of 10 experienced hikers, led by Igor Dyatlov, set out on a trek to conquer Otorten, a mountain in the northern Ural range. Their goal was ambitious, but well within their reach, or so they thought. They were young, vibrant, and filled with the spirit of exploration. But what was supposed to be a challenging yet exhilarating trek through the snow-capped Urals took an unforeseen and tragic turn. The team, consisting of 8 men and 2 women, all students or graduates from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, set out on their journey with enthusiasm and high spirits. They were well prepared and experienced, having undertaken similar expeditions before. On January 27th, they began their trek towards Otorten from Vizhai, the last inhabited settlement before the mountain. The group made steady progress despite the harsh winter conditions, but on January 28th, one of the hikers, whose name was Yuri Yudin, fell ill and eventually decided to come back, while remaining 9 hikers continued the expedition. It was the last time he saw his friends alive. On January 31st, they stashed surplus food and equipment that would be used for the return trip on the slopes of a highland area and continued their trek. On February 1st, they started to make their way through the pass that would later be named after Dyatlov. Their plan was to get over the pass and make camp for the night on the opposite side. However, worsening weather conditions, including heavy snowfall and reduced visibility, led them to deviate west towards the top of Kholat Syakhl, also known as Death Mountain by local Mansi population. Despite all the hype around this famous second name, the locals nicknamed this mountain that way, only because nothing grew on it. It was not sacred at all, contrary to the claims of dozens of unreliable sources. The team decided to set up camp on the slope of the mountain, an unusual choice given due to the circumstances and their experience. Investigators later theorized that Dyatlov perhaps did not want to lose the distance they had covered or decided against, moving 1.5 kilometers downhill to a forested area that would have offered some shelter from the elements. They had dinner and prepared for the night, but something went terribly wrong. After the hikers failed to return to Vizhai by the expected date, a search party was organized. On February 26, the searchers found the abandoned and badly damaged tent on Kholat Syakhl. The tent was cut open from the inside, and the hikers' belongings, including shoes and clothing, were left behind, suggesting a sudden and frantic departure. Following the tent's discovery, a trail of footprints led the searchers down to the edge of the nearby woods on the opposite side of the pass, about 1.5 kilometers northeast. There, at the forest's edge, under a large cedar tree, the bodies of the first 2 hikers were found, dressed only in underwear. Between the cedar and the camp, the bodies of 3 more hikers were discovered at intervals of 300 to 600 meters, suggesting they had been trying to return to the tent. It took more than 2 months to find the rest of the hikers. They were discovered at the bottom of a small ravine, 75 meters deeper into the woods from the cedar tree. These 4 were better dressed than the others, and there were signs that those who died first had their clothes removed for the use of the survivors. Autopsies revealed no signs of struggle, yet the hikers had died of a variety of causes. Some had minor bruises and cuts, while 2 suffered from severe chest fractures, and 1 had a fatal skull injury. Strangely, one of the hikers was missing her eyes and tongue. Forensic experts determined that the injuries to the chest and head were made with the force of a car crash, yet the bodies showed no external wounds associated with such injuries. It was as if they were subjected to a high level of pressure. Moreover, tests of their clothing showed high levels of radiation. These were the main confirmed episodes of the expedition. As you can see, it is absolutely impossible to understand what happened. The following facts you are going to hear make this mystery even more suspicious. Yuri Yudin, the 10th member of the expedition who had to return due to illness, laid down his life to find out the truth. On April 27, 2013, he died. Russian news twice interviewed a person familiar with Yuri Yudin. For the first time, this man promised to publish all the studies made by Yuri Yudin in honor of the 55th anniversary of the expedition. But despite this claim, all the researches made by the only survivor of this mysterious expedition weren't published. Shortly after, another interview was taken, where the same person said, "When I collected all these studies, being in his apartment after his death, a man came, introduced himself as an FSB, Russian FBI agent, and took all the documents." Weird, right? But not as weird as the most mysterious expedition group member Semen Zolotarev. Zolotarev went through war and, according to his own profile, there is information that he served for 6 months in the battalion that did not yet exist. Soon this battalion gets destroyed and he moves to a new one, where he serves for another 3 months. The problem is that the new battalion no longer existed at that time. Of course, these could be typos, but there are many other inconsistencies in his file. He quits his job and 2 days before the expedition joins the team. When his body was found, he had tattoos on him, a lot of tattoos, but his own parents had never seen any of them. They couldn't believe it was their son. In addition to all these doubts, it is worth mentioning that there were a lot of prisoner camps in the area of an accident. The craziest thing, though, is that 7 out of 9 people were buried in one place. The memorial depicts all 9 victims with their first and last names. However, 2 remaining victims are buried in a prestigious cemetery separately. Moreover, on the general memorial of the Dyatlov group, Zolotarev is signed as Zolotarev AI, but on a separate grave he is signed as Zolotarev SA. There is no way this was a typo. The Soviet investigation concluded that an unknown compelling force had caused the deaths. Various theories have been proposed over the years, including an infrasound-induced panic, military involvement, or indigenous Mansi People's attack, but none have fully explained all the elements of the incident. The infrasound-induced panic theory suggests that the deaths of the Dyatlov Pass hikers could have been caused by low-frequency sound waves known as infrasound. This theory was popularized by Donnie Icar in his book Dead Mountain, The Untold True Story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident. Infrasound is sound below 20 Hz, which is below the threshold of human hearing, but can still have significant effects on the human body and mind. The theory proposes that a natural phenomenon called a Kármán vortex street could have produced infrasound. This occurs when a wind flows around a blunt object, like the shape of Kolatsiakal Mountain where the hikers set up their last camp. The wind could have created vortices on the leeward side of the mountain, generating infrasound. Exposure to infrasound can lead to various physical and psychological effects, including discomfort, dizziness, blurred vision, hyperventilation, and a sense of impending doom. The infrasound-induced panic theory suggests that the hikers might have been driven to a state of extreme agitation and fear by the infrasound, causing them to flee from their tent into the deadly cold without proper clothing or equipment. The hikers' subsequent deaths could then be attributed to hypothermia and the injuries suffered in their disoriented and panicked state. While intriguing, this theory, like others surrounding the Dyatlov Pass incident, cannot conclusively explain all aspects of the case, such as the nature of some of the more severe injuries or the traces of radiation found on some clothing. The military involvement theory regarding the Dyatlov Pass incident suggests that the deaths of the 9 hikers might have been the result of secret Soviet military activities in the area. Proponents of this theory speculate that the hikers accidentally came across a covert military exercise or stumbled upon a restricted area where tests of experimental weapons or dangerous technology were being conducted. Several factors contribute to the suspicion of military involvement are unidentified flying objects, UFOs. Some reports and witness testimonies from around the time of the incident described seeing strange lights in the sky within the region. These have been interpreted by some as evidence of military missile tests or aircraft operations. Radiation. The discovery of high levels of radiation on some of the hikers' clothing further fuels speculation. It has been suggested that this could be linked to military testing of radioactive materials or weapons. Severe injuries. The nature of some of the hikers' injuries, which included fractured skulls, chest injuries, and a missing tongue, has led to speculation that they might have been caused by explosions or other military equipment. The force required to cause such injuries, as noted in the autopsy reports, was significant, and some believe it could not have been caused by natural means, military debris. There have been anecdotal reports of scrap metal and other debris in the area, which some have claimed could be linked to military hardware or experiments. This theory is much more plausible as it explains more mysteries such as radiation on the clothes. However, it is still far from the truth. The Mansi are a native ethnic group living in the Sverdlovsk region around the northern Ural Mountains, where the incident occurred. They are known for their deep respect for nature and traditional ways of life, including reindeer herding and hunting. This theory posits that the Dyatlov group might have trespassed on sacred Mansi land or somehow provoked the indigenous people, leading to a fatal confrontation. Supporters of this idea point to the severe and unexplained injuries sustained by some of the hikers as potential evidence of an external attack. Additionally, the absence of a clear motive or explanation for the hikers to abandon their tent in sub-zero temperatures has led some to speculate about a possible sudden and violent external threat. However, several key points significantly weaken the Mansi attack theory. Lack of evidence. There is no direct evidence to suggest that the Mansi, known for their peaceful coexistence with Russian settlers and other ethnic groups, were involved in the hikers' deaths. The investigation did not uncover any signs of struggle, hand-to-hand combat, or defensive wounds typically associated with an attack. Furthermore, the footprints found around the tent were only those of the hikers, with no indication of others being present. Respect for the territory. The Mansi people have a known respect for their environment and have coexisted with hikers and explorers in the region for many years without incidents. The area where the hikers set up their last camp was not considered sacred, as we learned earlier, or off-limits by the Mansi, weakening the argument that the hikers unwittingly trespassed on critical land. Injuries, not consistent with an attack. The nature of the injuries sustained by some of the hikers, such as severe chest trauma and a fractured skull, were found to be inconsistent with an attack by human assailants. The injuries were likened by the forensic examiner to the force of a car crash, and notably, there were no external wounds associated with these internal injuries, which would be unusual in the case of an attack involving weapons. These were the most popular conspiracy theories about what could have happened that night, but now let's see the official version, confirmed by Swiss scientists. In February 2019, Russian authorities reopened and re-examined the case. After more than a year, on 11th of July 2020, the official final version has been published. Igor Dyatlov's tourist group died in the northern Urals in 1959 as a result of an avalanche in conditions of poor stability. Andrei Kuryakov, deputy head of the Russian Prosecutor General's office for the Ural Federal District, stated at a press conference in Yekaterinburg. Swiss researchers have proposed an avalanche as the likely cause of the mysterious 1959 Dyatlov Pass incident in Russia, challenging various conspiracy theories. They utilize topography data and computer simulations to demonstrate how a small slab avalanche could occur on a gentle slope, potentially causing injuries similar to those found on the hikers. The study highlights the role of katabatic winds and a cut made by the hikers in the snow, contributing to the conditions leading to the avalanche. Despite their findings, the incident remains a topic of speculation and interest. As we conclude our journey into the heart of the Ural Mountains, the Dyatlov Pass incident continues to captivate and mystify. Despite advances in science and decades of speculation, the true cause behind the tragic fate of the 9 hikers remains elusive. No matter how boring the truth may seem to you, the official cause of the death of the Dyatlov group was an avalanche. Do you agree? Leave your thoughts in the comments and join the mystery. Farewell.